One of our missions at Mandarin Oriental is to turn guests into fans. And one of the things we're utilizing now is, on the one hand side, the power of data. So we've done a relatively big undertaking and project to use our data for back-end consolidation. So all of the data that used to exist in silos across the organization, across the property, say in F&B, in wellness, across rooms, was now unified. After we had done that, we then basically launched and relaunched for the first time actually a Mandarin Oriental app, which now gives us the opportunity to actually personalize our guest recognition program specifically to all of our guests out there in order to drive loyalty and drive retention. All the data used to exist in silos, so you might have had 5 different profiles across one single property, and none of the data points were speaking to each other. So we couldn't necessarily drive preferences based on what you eat. You might have allergies, you might have a specific spa therapist that you really like. None of those data points were necessarily connected. Now, with all of those data in our hands, we're basically able to drive a really personalized offering for you, and also have the guests stay engaged between itineraries. Usually guests come to our hotel maybe 2-3 times a year across the globe, across our network, across the 45 properties we have. How do we stay engaged with those guests between their stays, and how do we craft programs not necessarily for a stay, but even for a restaurant visit, or even for utilizing the spa as a local guest, as a local community? Pre-arrival is a wonderful example, and we just talked about actually on the panel how even AI can help here to draft and craft a personalized itinerary for yourselves, and then hopefully in the future, even based on weather changes, for example, if you have booked a wonderful leisure destination, to adapt that itinerary based on potential weather changes. We're very fortunate to have a brand like Mandarin Oriental, which is incredibly strong and is one of the best ultra-luxury hospitality brands out there. It's for us super important to continue to deliver service at the highest level, while at the same time crafting itineraries and technological solutions that speak to our guests. So we're kind of, I would say, trying to balance between, on the one hand side, delivering technological solutions, yet of course the magic is always going to be delivered by the hotel teams on property with their legendary service. So that's definitely one of the key things that we're after. One of the other things we've introduced with the new Fans of MO guest recognition program is now also your spend when it comes to F&B, so restaurants, bars, as well as spa and wellness, counts towards your status. Before, it was really focused on rooms and nights spent. So now, we're opening this I think slightly up, because a lot of the local community, 80% of the guests in the restaurants are from the local community, so not hotel guests. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of categorizing, into different, let's say, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, et cetera, because I think we're sometimes missing a little bit the point of, really catering to specific needs within those different segments. So one of the things we also did over the last 2 years is craft a very specific, tailored Mandarin Oriental customer segmentation, based on the purchasing data that we had in the back end, and out of that build a content strategy that ultimately connects and develops creative and content that engages with that particular audience. And of course, one of the audiences is a younger target group. Now, does that speak to the entire generation Z? Probably not, but that's not the point, because we're looking for a subset of those of that particular generation that has a specific behavior, preferences, likes that fits with the Mandarin Oriental brand. Great question. And one of the fundamental changes we also did to the program was to introduce an additional tier into the guest recognition program, which is called Fans of MO, which we have just relaunched in April. So that gives people I would say, a little bit more flexibility and probably more perks to go through the different tiers, which we have. We also have, I would say, adapted the way that we give benefits to be a little bit more flexible, to have certain what we call moments of delight, surprises, where you might be having a dinner with your friends and all of a sudden we send a glass of champagne just on the house because you have been such a loyal fan of the brand and you have reached a certain tier that unlocks a certain benefit. For us, everything starts with the brand. The brand is at the center of our entire strategy because we ultimately believe that a stronger brand drives desirability. Stronger desirability drives ADR, occupancy, and ultimately more value for all of the stakeholders across our value chain. So brand sits ultimately at the center. We have very clear targets in terms of how we want to deliver our strategy. One of those targets is with regards to how well we retain our guests. So as I said at the beginning, one of our missions, or one of the fundamental missions for us, and also my job, is to turn guests into fans. So we measure exactly how many of our fans of MO people are actually returning back to us. And we want that number to be in the, of course, high digits. We're trying to cater to the needs, the preferences, and the likes of the people that we now hopefully know a little bit better through data consolidation and through predictive AI, because that ultimately helps us to craft an itinerary or an experience on property for our guests or for the local community. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think we have a couple of kind of cool features. One of the features that I love the most is a bit of a gamification feature in the app. Which basically allows you, one of the iconic brand elements of Mandarin Oriental is the fan, which has now been around for more than 40 years. True emblem, going back to a tradition that was started in 1886 at the Oriental Hotel in Bangkok, where one of the departing guests was gifted a fan. So this has become our overall brand emblem and represents, a symbol of quiet luxury. For us. So one of the features that we have built into the app is once you have stayed at a specific hotel, you collect that particular fan, because each of our properties has a very unique fan that is only unique to that specific property and has a deep, usually historic relationship with the destination or with the hotel or with an artist that is very important to the destination. So, and you unlock that fan almost like a collector's item. So that's a pretty cool feature, yeah. The best service is always the one that's delivered before it's even asked. So I think that's, of course, the actual service delivery on property. Predictive AI, we're utilizing probably in different shapes and formats at this point in time, and we have a vision to actually use that, as I mentioned at the beginning, for pre-stays, for post-stays, to actually continue to engage and drive revenues also between the stays. And I think we see potential here for sure. For sure, utilizing or using the technological interaction between guests and our technology on site. To give you an example, a lot of the people that travel now want to continue to follow their personal training programs. So they log into, with their personal accounts, into the techno gym machines that we have in our fitness centers. And maybe in the future, if of course the data collection and privacy terms allow, by utilizing their biometric data, really using AI to then predict their overall state for the rest of their stay, utilizing that said data, maybe suggest a rest day, or being a little bit more active, or a massage, or a potential nutritious meal, just to help people to really truly come maybe recharged after their stay, because that's also surely one of the things that we see whenever people do stay at our hotels. They want to come back more recharged than when they came to the hotel before. Look, partnerships play a crucial role. I give you one very tangible example. We're partnering with a wonderful company called The Luminaire, in some of our properties around the world, and what they offer are basically money can't buy experiences. So think about Madrid, where our property, which is a beautiful 115-year-old property, is just happening to be right exactly next to the Prado, the beautiful museum in Madrid. The Luminaire can open the doors after hours for a curated, personalized visit just for you. And we have many of those, different examples around the world. And I think that's exactly where the ultra luxury space is going. Very tailored, unique, money can't buy experiences that we as a brand, of course, can open the gates to. I would say it's a little bit of both. I mean, first of all, it needs to fit to us as a brand. As I said, everything for us starts with a brand, being very clear about who we are, using our brand DNA, as we call it, as a lens to ultimately evaluate whether this is the right partner for us. And then, of course, we utilize industry trends, we utilize guest feedback hubs, we utilize things as qualitative focus groups in order to really curate and stay abreast of overall trends in that space. I always love a sleep mask. I travel a lot, so I really love a silk sleep mask. I love a really good facial exfoliator. So that's another I think perk. And number 3, very good earplugs. Not a lot of people can do earplugs very well, as I travel a lot, and I sometimes have to sleep overnight because it's long haul. Earplugs that entirely drown out the noise are wonderful, and the ones that the airlines provide don't do the job.